Welcome to Magical Moms Travel Podcast. I am April.
I am Carla.
And I'm Lena.
Together, we will spill the tea on the highs and lows and hilariously ugly moments of planning a magical family vacation, with insider tips, expert tricks, and the enchanting magic that ensures your trip will be truly unforgettable.
So buckle up for the wildest ride of the wilderness.
Welcome back to Magical Moms Travel, where we help you navigate the magical world of Disney vacation planning. In this episode, we are diving into part 2 of our series, Is Disney That Expensive? We know that planning a Disney trip can feel very overwhelming, especially when it comes to budgeting. Today, we're unraveling the costs behind a Disney vacation by sharing real-life family budgets that range anywhere from $3,000 to $20,000 or more. If you haven't listened to part 1, you definitely want to check that out. It's full of insights into all of the costs associated with a Disney vacation and our tips along the way. Today, we'll explore how families like the Parkers and the Millers experience the magic of Disney in their unique ways. Plus, we'll have a fun debate. Is the magic worth the money? So whether you're a budget-savvy planner or ready to splurge on unforgettable experiences, this episode is packed with tips and insights to help you make the most of your Disney adventure.
Let's kick things off with a few real-life examples of actual family budgets for their 2025 vacation to Walt Disney World. These are examples of families who have come to us to help them plan a magical vacation in 2025. So here's the parameters for these. Each family is a family of 4. 2 adults, 2 children, and under the age of 10. So each family will be planning a full week, 6-night, 7-day stay at Walt Disney World and staying on site at a Disney resort. So there's no off-site people here. Everyone's on site. We wanted to show you some real life examples of what different budgets can get you, because these budgets are ultimately going to give us a clearer picture of how different spending habits can impact the overall experience. So Lena has our first example. All names, by the way, have been changed to protect identity. So I just want to put that out there. But we're going to start with the Parker family. Managed to do an entire week at Disney on a $3,500 budget. And they really had to get creative. Again, this is a family of 4. So I want to know, how, Lena, did you get them under that budget?
So, what I really love to do with these families is I need to find a week that works for them and obviously keeps them within their budget. So this family chose to do the last week of August, August 24th through August 30th, 2025. They are going to stay at Disney's All-Star Sports Resort in a standard room with 2 queen beds. And we are assuming that they're going to be able to take advantage of a 4-day magic ticket, which has been offered the last 2 summers in a row. So if it doesn't get offered again, their budget will, slightly go up. But we are anticipating that they'll be able to take advantage of that park ticket. And then for their food, they decided that prioritize ordering groceries and bringing in sandwiches and snacks and breakfast grab and go items so that they can manage their budget that way. So they have a budget of about $150 for groceries and $600 for in-park food purchases. And then another way that they are going to save is that they are going to drive to Florida and they're going to spend about $150 for gas. That's what we're estimating. So that brings them at $3,387.36. Right under budget, right? So again, why did this work? The Parker family, we started at the value resort level, which is going to save them significantly compared to the other accommodations. And they booked their trip for off-peak season. So I tried to find a week that was still, summer break for them and for their family, but also going to be the best possible rate for them. That they have the 4-day magic ticket that we are anticipating coming out. And then the dining strategy is a key thing here. So instead of eating in the parks every single meal, they're going to, they're gonna have bagels with cream cheese in their room, or they're going to bring in those peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for their kids. Their kids are little, so they're not too worried about splurging on the expensive park food that they might not like anyway. And this really is going to allow them to save a ton and enjoy more attractions ultimately. You're going to have a ton more time um, doing all of the attractions that they're really trying to focus on here.
Okay, impressive. Good job. Good job, Lena. I wish I had that budget for our trips, but it's awesome to see that a budget like that can absolutely work. And I think that's one thing that we get all the time is our budget is this, we won't find anything. And the three of us are miracle workers. We always find trips within budgets, pretty darn close, if not under. Okay, so now let's contrast that with the Millers, who took a different approach with their $10,000 budget, and they were able to really enjoy some high-end experiences. April, tell us how you worked your magic and gave them a jam-packed itinerary.
Love to. So with a $10,000 budget, you would really think that they're going to be able to go all out and splurge here. But coming in with a higher budget doesn't necessarily mean that they went all out. The Millers picked to travel during spring break. That's going to be your key here. This is going to eat up a significant part of their budget. They also flew into Orlando Airport and they're taking Mears Connect to and from the resort. So these things are going to add up onto that budget. The dates that this family, the Miller family, chose is April 27th through May 3rd, 2025. They chose to stay at a moderate resort, which is Disney's Port Orleans Resort, French Quarter. They got a garden view room with 2 queen beds. And they're going to do a 4-day ticket with admission to 1 park per day. So that came into $4,904.10. But then we've got to talk about food, because food is a large part of a budget for a trip. And it's something that I don't think a lot of people think about maybe when they're first starting to plan. And so we do have to think about that. We're guessing that they're going to do about $150 for groceries. So they're going to get some snacks, some water bottles, juices, and things to keep in their hotel room. When we sat down and we talked about the type of meals that they want, they think they would like to do 1 sit-down table service meal per day. And those are going to average out to about $250 per meal. Fewer character meals, and then of course they're going to have snacks, beverages, and some quick service meals. And so we came up with about a $2,000 budget for their park food. Next biggest portion of their trip is the travel expenses. So $2,000 for flights. You guys, that hurts my heart. Like, it makes me so sick because I have never paid anywhere close to that for flights. And then you're going to have $150 for the Mears Connect. And then one other expense that people are not thinking about, and we can only guesstimate at this point based on the prices that we have, is the Lightning Lane passes. We're assuming their cost is going to be about $600 for the whole trip, making their total come out to $9,804.40. So we still came in a smidge under budget, but that doesn't mean that they're going all out doing the VIP tours and all of those things. It does leave them in a comfortable position for any souvenirs, impulse purchases, which are definitely inevitable.
Yeah, I think you did a really good job with this plan too. I think, like you said, the flight costs, oh yeah, it's so heavy just because it's spring break week. But yeah, it's a significant portion. So if this is the only time of the year that you really can plan, you just need to be mindful of that you're going to spend a little bit more on flights than if you are going in August or whatever, you're going in a different month. And I love that you help them manage their food budget because, like you said, a lot of people don't know, and then they get the bill and they're a little bit shocked, or, so just managing a little bit and then having some snacks on hand is going to help too. Oh, and then the other thing it's bringing up to mind is the sit down dining, because they're traveling during spring break week, is like honestly might be needed. It really just might be needed to have one sit down dining experience in your day to break from the crowds and to rest your feet and all of that, because of just how busy the parks are. It's going to be, it's a good thing to have that couple hours in your day. What about our biggest budget of the day, which is a $20,000 budget, and that is coming from one of Carla's families. Can you tell us where that landed, your clients, the Richardsons family?
Well, yes, I can. Let me tell you, you guys, you might think that $20,000 is crazy, but when I tell you what it got this family who is traveling just in a couple of months, you'll be able to understand the difference, how you can still go to Disney off of just about any budget, but what this much money can get you as an experience there. So this family is traveling this year around December 18th to the 24th, and they are staying in a deluxe hotel. They're staying at Disney's Grand Floridian, but in addition to staying at Disney's Grand Floridian, they're also staying at Club Level. And so Club Level is an additional service entrance to the club. Ooh, I really described it in a fancy way there, didn't I? Sorry, my brain's not working. It includes essentially free refreshments like water, alcohol, soft drinks, beverages, light breakfast, and hors d'oeuvres and snacky items throughout the day. So it's essentially like it's a little bit of everything. They help you plan all of your park, like excursions for lack of better words and those types of things. So they're doing Disney's Grand Floridian Club Level 6-day ticket with Park Hopper. So the other two packages were one park per day, but they really wanted Park Hopper. And on top of that, they also wanted table service dining plan. So that's a lot of food. But that right there, the hotel, the park days, and the dining plan all at Club Level is $17,396.46. So that's a lot of money going towards park tickets and food, and then more food, and then more food. So lots of food. They do not need a food budget because they literally are relying on Club Level for any time they're not in the parks or not at restaurants. They'll grab their waters, their snacks, like all of those items from Club Level when they come back to the hotel from the parks. And then table service, they've got table services for each night or each day that includes beverages and snacks anytime needed. So they've got lots of food, so no budget for that for anything additional. Travel expenses were about $1,500 for flights and then $300 round trip for a private car service. And then the other expenses, they did get plan to get lightning lanes, multi and single every day for every ride that they can get it for. So that's going to be like another $900. I'm estimating. So that's a total of about $20,096.46. So there you go. Christmas time at the Grand Floridian.
Wow. That's all, honestly, I really have to say about that is wow. Christmas at the Grand Floridian, that's really next luxury level, but then it's no surprise that they took advantage of the Club Level service and the Park Hopper tickets, and that really maximizes their experience. Being at the Grand Floridian during the holidays means that they'll be surrounded by the grandest holiday decorations at Disney, right down to that massive gingerbread house in the lobby. And we talked ad nauseum about the gingerbread house in one of our previous episodes, so go check that out. With the Club Level access, they won't have to worry about food, midday snacks. They'll have everything they need, plus any extra time to enjoy all the parks with those lightning lanes. And it definitely sounds like it's a stress-free and magical way to spend the holidays.
No, there's stress. What do I eat next? How soon do I eat? When was my next meal? That's the stress that I would have, is I would want to eat my money's worth. So I'd have to be rolled out of those parks. But exactly, for the Richardson family, it wasn't just about staying on property. It was about creating lifelong memories, and they really value those added conveniences like the private car service, the club access, to make their stay as smooth as possible. And they're making it happen, so I'm excited for them. This is all about creating that next level Disney experience they're gonna remember for a lifetime. Even if it's just the credit card bill, they'll remember for a lifetime. No, it's
I would totally do this. Like if I ever came to a time where I wanted to just have a grandiose experience, I would definitely pick around Christmas time and the Grand Floridian is a great choice. I definitely agree with that. But whether you're working with like a really small budget or a large budget, the key is really aligning your vacation what matters most to your family. And, if it takes you 2, 3 years to save up that 10,000, then I think it would be a better experience for you to do that if that's what's important to your family. Um, but we just wanted to give you some parameters to work your brain around. I know when you're totally new to Disney and vacation planning, it's really hard. It's really, really hard to just understand those different levels. And so, if you're finding these tips and these examples helpful, we really would love for you to hit that subscribe button so you never miss any of our episodes. And we want to hear from you. So please leave us a review and hit us up on social media and just let us know what you'd like to see more of. If you'd like to see these more examples, if you'd like to see a certain topic, we would love to hear from you. And that brings us to our next biggest question. Is the magic of Disney really worth all the money? Hey, Magical Moms, we hope you're enjoying today's episode. We wanted to take a quick moment to talk about something that can make your next Disney trip even more magical. Have you ever wished that planning your Disney vacation could be a little less stressful and a lot more fun? Well, that's where we come in.
That's right. This episode is brought to you by Magical Moms Travel, your go-to Disney vacation planning service. We know that planning a Disney trip can feel like an epic quest. So many choices and so little time. With Magical Moms Travel, we take the stress out of the planning process so you can focus on the magic.
From booking the perfect resort, scoring those hard to get dining reservations, or crafting the ultimate itinerary, our team of Disney experts is here to help you every step of the way. And the best part, our services are absolutely complimentary with your vacation package.
So, whether it's your first trip or your 15th, let us help you create those unforgettable Disney memories that your family will treasure forever. Trust us, planning a Disney trip has never been this easy or this fun.
Are you ready to start planning? Visit the link in the show notes or reach out to us directly through our social media channels. Let's make some magic together.
Well, let's dive into this debate. Is spending more really going to get you more magic? Or can you still experience all the wonder of Disney on a tighter budget? We're going to hash it out right here. One of us will argue that it's absolutely worth splurging on those magical moments, while the other will make the case for a more budget friendly, yet still magical approach. Scenario one: is a $400 dinner at Cinderella's royal table really worth it for that once in a lifetime moment? Or should you save that cash and put it toward an extra park day or souvenirs? Carla?
Why'd you have to pick on me? Seriously.
I don't know.
Start this debate right now. Okay, so it's really hard for me, but I'm gonna share this. So we have 3 daughters. We go every year, and when we only had 2 kiddos when we first started going, they had the Cinderella's Royal Table experience. And so because we had a third kid in the mix, we had to take her for the experience to kind of make it even. Not that like she would ever, resent us later if she found out. So I think more of like a one and done situation. If it's something that's in your budget, it is neat to experience. I don't think anybody's ever going to admit that a $400 dinner experience was worth every single penny. And it's not. But the memories and saying that you did it, if that is available for you, I think is worth it.
Lena, how do you feel about it?
Honestly, I think it's nice if like this is your once in a lifetime trip with your family, if you have little girls who are princess obsessed. especially now that all the princesses are meeting there. That's a huge key. Because before I would definitely say no, but now I'm leaning on, it is really nice. I think for my clients, I tell them since Magic Kingdom is so attraction heavy that maybe they want to do their princess dining in Epcot. So it really does. I think that there's like a give and take there. I don't really think that answers your question, but
Yeah,
yeah.
no. So I'm right there on the fence with you guys. Of course, we've done this experience because we had a little princess. And then the other thought that goes through my brain, as I say with most character meals, is you're saving time because you've got to eat, right? You want to sit down and rest your feet. You want some air conditioner. And why not knock out meeting 4 or 5 characters at one time while you do that and then not have to wait in line for those characters later? So I think that's the beauty of character experiences, because the lines for meeting the princesses, especially in Magic Kingdom, can be really long. And so you're knocking out a lot of them right here at this dinner, and then you don't have to wait in those crazy lines later in the day. So I think for me, for a once in a lifetime trip, or just like Carla said, just to say you've done it and experience it, if you can swing it, I say go for it.
All right. What about scenario 2? You have a family of 4 and you're trying to decide between staying at Disney All-Star Movies or Disney's Polynesian Village Resort. Is the higher cost, and it is a significantly higher cost, to stay at this deluxe resort, is it worth it? Or should they stick with the value resort because, I don't know, their kids are little and they might not remember?
So I'll speak from my family's experience. For us to just get to go dip our toe in the water, experience the magic, we have stayed at value resorts every time. It hasn't always been the All Stars. Usually we'll do Art of Animation or Pop because we like the Skyliners. But you know what? If it came down to it and All Stars was all that we could afford, I'm choosing that over like an offsite place every day. But if you really do think that this is a one and done for your family and you're dead set on that and you're going when the kids are like 7 or 8 years old and you're going to save up to that Polynesian, definitely the Polynesian is going to win out every time. And so save up to that and stay at the Polynesian, have that once in a lifetime experience, and you've had the most magical vacation there is. But if it's between getting to go or not getting to go, stay All Stars.
I agree. I think every one of these scenarios is going to literally be like, if the budget is available, then this, because honestly, I don't think that staying at a value, for the reason of like kids might not remember it if they're little anyways. Honestly, I don't think that matters. I think of, to be totally honest, because we usually stay deluxe, is the convenience for the parents. Like these are really stressful trips, and I will tell you the times that we've stayed at deluxe resorts, with double stroller and single stroller, wheeling on and off the monorail and or walking to the parks, I will always say convenience is worth it every single time. And we just recently stayed at Polynesian. That was our second time staying there. And again, if the budget is available, I say absolutely it's worth it. That's how I feel. And again, it's the convenience for mommy and daddy who are going to lose their shit at least 50 times on the trip, but at least we're not losing our crap over waiting in line for a bus, So that is like my genuine and sassy response, is that if it's available, like why not? At least stay deluxe once, but then I warn you, because sometimes once you stay deluxe, it's really hard to stay anywhere else because you completely spoil yourself because you know what is available. So we thought we would never be quote unquote that family, and we've become quote unquote that family. But for us, it's convenience and sanity for sure.
Yeah, I was gonna say once you go deluxe, you can't go back. But
So what you guys are saying is that my trip to a deluxe resort soon is probably going to spoil me and I'm never going back to value.
yes.
Oh, so I'm on a slippery slope here. Oh man.
And of course you picked the highest
Of
level
course I
of
did.
deluxe.
Of course. Um, let's move on to scenario 3. Let's talk about a family that's thinking about booking a specialty dessert party for the fireworks with VIP viewing and treats. Is that worth the splurge, or should they just stake out a spot early in the hub and grab a quick service dessert instead?
All right, I'll go first. I've done this one just so that I could give my clients an overall a view of what it looks like. I was going at it as someone who gets anxiety in crowds and someone who doesn't want to wait hours in a spot or have the extra person to, grandma or whoever. I'll sit here and I'll wait. So I didn't have we usually don't travel with extended family, so we don't have an extra person. And a lot of us in our family get that crowd anxiety. And for that reason alone, I think that it is a nice add-on. If it's the splurge that you want to take, it would be worth it in that case because you get that dedicated viewing area and you're not squished in there and you don't have to be there at a certain time. And then the desserts and obviously the drinks, they give you alcoholic beverages for adults, and they also have like pog juice and fun little drinks for kids. All the desserts are included, and it's a nice little thing to have. But I think if you're going there thinking it's like a super special, um, I don't know, super special experience, it's not going to be the best thing ever. It's just it is what it is. It's a viewing spot and a little sweet treat.
Did a dessert party once when we had just two of our daughters at that time, and I agree. I think the biggest mistake we made, so I might as well share that, is don't go immediately after a dinner reservation. Like we literally squeezed in a dinner reservation and rushed eating because we had to get to the dessert party. And we were so full, it was quite ridiculous. We were forcing like fancy little things we couldn't even pronounce down our throats, and then the weather, the weather was a factor, and so they had to have our location in a different spot because of the weather. So there were some things that were kind of out of our control. Overall, it was a good experience, and we've talked about doing it again now that we have a third to kind of make experiences even. But when you look at the ticket price, it again, for our family, we would rather put that money somewhere else.
We've never done the dessert party, and it's kind of like what you said. The ticket prices are pretty high, and we don't really drink alcohol. I won't say we never drink alcohol, but especially when we're hot and we're tired and cranky, like I don't want alcohol. It just makes me hotter and sleepier. And I'm a little bit like Lena, where all the crowds and the people kind of make me anxious. And I got to tell you, nowhere I've ever sat have I been able to see the projections on the castle amazingly. And so honestly, going and seeing the fireworks from one of the monorail resorts is probably the best fireworks experience I've ever had. So I don't know that I will ever pay for this experience, but I am looking forward to us getting to do it in January with our agency, and then I can speak from experience for sure.
For us too, we don't drink hardly ever either, and we didn't at that party either. So that kind of felt like a waste because if you're drinkers, then that's not bad to splurge on a ticket like that.
Right.
Yeah, and I think you get a couple hours before, so you can sit and snack and relax and get all of that before the fireworks. Or there's one after the fireworks too. So if you are going to get the ticket, plan accordingly. Don't eat dinner right before like Carla's family, and just take the time that you do have to enjoy all the treats and the drinks.
All right, so let's move on to our next little scenario we've got here. And should a family purchase the Memory Maker photo package for $169 to capture professional pictures throughout the parks? Or is it better to skip it and take their own photos?
Yes, get it. Next question.
Elena?
I'm going to agree with Carla, and the reason is because we get wrapped up in the moment and we don't take as many pictures. So then when you buy it, it's already on your mind like, oh, I need to there's a photographer, let me get in line and wait for them. So it already is producing that value there. So I always recommend it, especially for the moms who are rarely in the pictures with their families. So I just always yes.
Yes.
You agree? April?
Absolutely, I do. And Lena took the words out of my mouth. As a mom, from a mom perspective, who is usually taking the pictures, and even if you do ask somebody else to take pictures, they usually take some crazy looking picture and it's nothing that you want. So at least with the photographers, they're going to kind of pose you and give you a minute to compose yourself. And most of the time, you're going to get a nice picture somewhere out of it. Okay, so just get it. It's so worth it.
All right, what about the next one? A parent is trying to decide whether to splurge on a character dining experience or meet the characters at a standard meet and greet. So let's say Mickey and Minnie. Is it worth paying for the meal to avoid the long lines?
I think I addressed this earlier. My answer is yes, it is worth it wholeheartedly.
I think it's worth it for sure too, especially if it's like some of your favorite characters. Hopefully you're picking a character meal that is characters that you really do want to see. And like April said earlier, it is worth it. Like you got to eat anyways, air conditioning, you can sit down, take your time for the most part. And, you get into your reservation pretty much right on time. You're getting seated. So I think it is too.
I'm going to say yes, but with one caveat. I think for a lot of my families, I will tell them just pick one to do. If you leave Disney World and you didn't do any character meal, you're missing a very small part, but you might feel like you missed out. So we can find you ones that are a little bit cheaper than others, or breakfast versus dinner, etc. But just try to budget for one, just so that you have that experience. And then for the other meals, you can eat peanut butter and jelly and whatever, who cares?
Love that advice. Let's move on to our next. A family is debating whether or to buy souvenirs throughout the trip or save their money for one big souvenir at the end, like a custom lightsaber or a droid from Galaxy's Edge. Which one do you think is more magical?
Try telling a 4, an 8, and a 10-year-old, no, on the last day of the trip, you'll get your big souvenir. It ain't gonna work that way. So one, I think it's important to what is your budget for souvenirs, and then like what we do with our family is if our girls find something on the first day at the first hotel, we will make them wait just to make sure if they keep seeing it, each day to make sure that they really want it, but they will buy a few throughout their trip because they get excited, and the other thing too is we don't always get a chance to go in the stores, and so we really almost have to force ourselves to go in the stores. But also we're not into maybe that was just a bad example for our family. We're not into the lightsabers or droids, so that we could care less about that. But if there was another big souvenir that they wanted, I probably would wait till the end just so that we didn't have to carry it around or leave it at the hotel. But
Yeah, I mean, I've had families who are extreme Star Wars fans and they wanted to do this experience. So, again, know your family, know your kids and yourselves, because it might just be you who wants to do the droid or the lightsaber experience. And if that's something that you really want to do, then yeah, maybe you don't go through all of the shops as you exit the rides and pick new things to buy. But for kids, I don't know if they would really appreciate the value unless, again, you guys are really Star Wars obsessed fans.
We kind of do a lot of what Carla said, and we kind of give our daughter a budget, or people give her gift cards for Christmas gifts, birthday gifts, whatever. And so if it's first day and we're around the hotels and she sees something she likes, we'll kind of tell her, well, okay, that's going to be here. We can find that somewhere else and we'll come back for that if you decide that's really what you want. Let's think about it. But like if we're in one of the parks, sometimes you can't find those things other places. And I don't go to the shops multiple times. And so I'm like, you know what? If you really, 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 really want that and you have the budget for it, let's get it and let's go. But we're also not huge Star Wars fans. Like we did the cheaper lightsaber experience last year during Jollywood Nights, actually. My husband and my daughter had fun with that, but I don't think any of us care to pay that much for the lightsabers or the droids. So I don't think we'd wait till the end.
Scenario is a family is considering upgrading to the deluxe dining plan, which offers 3 sit-down meals a day. Is it worth it, or should they stick with no dining plan and budget on their own?
We're comparing the normal dining plan with the sit down dinners and then no dining plan. Do the adults in your party consume alcohol do they want an alcoholic beverage with every meal? That's going to be a significant deciding factor. And then also, like, how much time do you want to dedicate in your day to these sit down meals, because they can take 2 hours or more out of your park day. So that's the big things for me. Like, I think I have my like repeat families who have done a lot of the attractions and they know what their favorites are. They might get a dining plan because they want to take those long extended breaks, versus the family who's like rides, 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 you know? So, those are the two big things that come to mind, whether or not it's going to be worth it for your family.
Yeah, so a couple of things come to mind when you're talking about that is for us, we are very ride focused in my family, but we also need that downtime, whether we want to admit it at the time or not. We definitely need that downtime. And usually, once we get sat down, we've got some water, we've cooled off a bit, we're like, ah, our brains feel refreshed. And so for us, the sit down meals are worth it for that. And then the dining plans for us for the convenience. I've talked about this before in our dining episodes. For us, it's about convenience and that all inclusive feel. So I am not going to sit down with my receipts at the end and compare everything and see if I actually got my money's worth or not. I don't care. I might because of my job, so I can compare with you guys, but like just normal in my life, I'm not sitting here trying to beat the dining plan. We just want to pay for it ahead of time so it's done, it's over with, and we don't have to worry when we're there. We can eat what we want to eat and order what we want to order without feeling guilty about it.
That's true too, because if you have the dining plan, then you'll probably get the steak or the fish off the market or whatever. You'll get the things that are a little bit more fancy, and then you get desserts and you get to try different things. So that's a whole other benefit too. Yeah, I would agree with that. All right. Our last one is, should families spend extra on a themed hotel room like the Princess Royal Suites at the Port Orleans Resort, or is it better just to book a standard room and then use that money elsewhere?
My family says absolutely yes, spend the money on the extra themed rooms because you're at Disney and it gives you that Disney feel. It makes you feel like you are living in the movie essentially. And like I've never stayed in the princess rooms at Port Orleans, but we've stayed in like the Little Mermaid rooms and the Cars rooms, and it just makes you feel like you're in those movies, and it's so quintessential Disney. And some people don't want that in your face, but that's the magic for our family. So I say yes.
I want to answer. So I would say, and we're a family of five, I would rather stay in a deluxe studio suite at a deluxe hotel. It's like than a themed room at like French Quarter because of the space. A deluxe studio is amazing. It's got like 2 bathrooms. I mean, there's just so much more space. So I'd rather have space over themed if that was an option, I guess. But we recently stayed at Port Orleans this past summer, and the Royal Princess room was available, but it for some reason didn't appeal to us. I'm not quite sure why. Maybe because we were saving for when we park hopped or hotel hopped over to the Polynesian. But a lot of my families love getting any themed rooms that are available too. So just depends.
I hear you wholeheartedly. I do have to put out there and say that Carla's got 3 kids where I only have one. So we're usually traveling as a family of 3, and that makes it so much easier. Our kid is not in a stroller anymore. We don't have any of that excess stuff. But even when she did have a stroller, it was a little umbrella stroller. We didn't have double strollers or double and single strollers. So it made it so much easier for us. So for us, it worked. So you just got to know your family and know what your needs are.
I think for me, I'm gonna splurge on the resort that's closer to the parks that I want to visit more often, or that are in a nice area like the Skyliner area, versus being in a resort that's a little bit separated from everything else. Like even the All-Star movies, All-Star Sports, All-Star Music, all those three, they're connected in a way, but they are kind of all off on their own. They're not connected to other resorts in the area. So for me, because of that reason, I probably wouldn't pick a themed room unless it was available at the resort that the area that I wanted to stay. Well, what do you think of that game? Should we play again?
I always love these games. I think they're so fun. I hope it helps our listeners get to know us a little bit and hear our opinions and our thoughts. And like, I just hope it guides you guys, you listeners, into an opinion for your family and a decision for your family. And to just know that your family is unique and that no two families are alike. So what works for my family doesn't work for Carla's family or doesn't work for Lena's family. And it might not work for your family. And so I'm going to take that into account when I give you recommendations, that if your family's different from mine and what your needs are, then I'm not going to recommend what my family loves. But I love sharing our opinions and why we like those things.
Yeah, I like the debate part. I like when we disagree with each other. Not that it ever gets, nasty, but it's nice to see difference of opinions when they're opposite,
Yeah.
And I too, I love. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no. I was just going to say something else that really surprised me in this episode was earlier in the episode when we were talking about the budgets and just like how far we can stretch a budget. And you can have a magical vacation. No matter your budget, we can work with you and get you that magical Disney vacation. So never say never, okay? It can happen for anybody.
Yeah, for sure. The flexibility in making sure both, the budget conscious and splurge worthy moments that we could fit it all in. I hope today's episode helped shed some light on how you can make the most of your budget while still having an amazing vacation. Speaking of which, if you're ready to plan your next trip, don't hesitate to reach out to us ladies. We'd love to help make it as magical as possible by being your travel planners.
Hear from you. What's your approach when it comes to planning your vacations? Do you save big and then go all out, or do you have a tighter budget because you want to travel more often, more frequently maybe? So we'd love to hear where you fall on that spectrum. Tag us on social media and tell us about maybe some of the tips and tricks that you utilize when it comes to planning your vacations, or where you've splurged. We'd love to hear that too. If you enjoyed this episode, please make sure to subscribe. Again, if you haven't heard the first part of this series, go back and listen to that. And don't miss out, because we are going to have a part 3, Is Disney That Expensive, in the series.
I can't wait for series 3. But also I wanted to remind you guys that if you're feeling overwhelmed with planning, because it's so easy to be overwhelmed, just remember that we're here to help make your dream Disney vacations a reality. We wanted to thank you guys for spending time with us today, and we're so glad to be a part of your Disney planning journey. And if you're feeling overwhelmed with planning, remember, we're here to help make your dream Disney vacation a reality. Until next time, keep dreaming big and making magical memories.